Ruth Ann Harlan stood on the wide wooden porch of her daughter's sprawling ranch-style home just outside Nashville. The kind of place that screamed country music dreams, with its twangy guitar-shaped mailbox and the faint hum of cicadas mixing with distant honky-tonk echoes. It was Mother's Day 2025, and the air was thick with the scent of barbecue ribs slow cooking on the smoker and fresh-cut grass from the manicured lawn. At 75, Ruth Ann still carried herself with the poise of a performer, her silver hair pulled into a loose bun, wearing a flowered sundress that fluttered in the warm Tennessee breeze. She'd brought her famous pecan pie, the one with the secret dash of bourbon that always stole the show at family gatherings. You know, the real deal, that'd make your taste buds do a happy dance. "Grandma Ruthie!" her little grandson, little Cody, hollered as he barreled toward her, his cowboy boots kicking up dust like a mini tornado. At 6, he was all energy and freckles, wrapping his arms around her legs tighter than a hogtie. His oldest sister, 9-year-old Lila, followed more shyly, clutching a handmade card with glittery stars that sparkled like Vegas lights. Ruth Ann's heart swelled bigger than a blue ribbon pumpkin. These moments made the aches in her joints worth it, no doubt. She knelt down, ignoring the creak in her knees like an old truck hitch, and hugged them tight. "My little stars, look at y'all, growing like weeds in a holler." From inside the house, her daughter, Jessie Mae, poked her head out. At 48, Jessie was a vision of Nashville ambition, blonde highlights, rhinestone jeans, and a voice that could belt out a ballad, but hadn't quite hit the big leagues yet. "Mama, you made it. Come on in. We've got a surprise for you that'll knock your socks off." Jessie's husband Trent lounged against the doorframe, his producer's swagger evident in his designer cowboy hat and the other present phone in his hand like it was glued there. He gave Ruth Ann a nod, but his eyes were already scanning the yard for the next photo op, acting all high and mighty. Trent ran a small indie label, churning out demos for up-and-comers, and Jessie was his star project, always one audition away from hidden pay dirt. The family gathered in the living room, decked out with string lights and framed posters of country legends like Dolly Parton and Johnny Cash. Ruth Ann had helped pick out half of them during garage sales, back when money was tighter than a guitar string. The grandkids plopped down on the rug, eyes wide as saucers with excitement. Jessie handed Ruth Ann a pink envelope sealed with a heart sticker. "This is from all of us, Mama, reading out loud so everyone can hear the whole shebang." Ruth Ann's fingers trembled slightly as she opened it. Heck, she was fixing to burst with anticipation. The card was homemade, with crayon drawings of microphones and guitars. Clearly the kids' handiwork, cute as a button. How sweet, she thought, her voice warm and steady as she began. "Roses are red, violets are blue." Her words faltered like a skipped record. The next lines jumped out like a slap in the face. "Your off-key stories bore us. Mute yourself from the band. You're a faded old tune. Time to take your last stand." The room went silent for a heartbeat, quieter than a church mouse. Then Trent burst out laughing, a deep, mocking guffaw that echoed off the walls like thunder in a canyon. Jessie covered her mouth, but her shoulders shook with giggles fit the busted good. Even the kids, sensing the adults' amusement, started chuckling, Cody mimicking Trent's laugh like a little parrot, Lila hiding her face but peeking through her fingers like she was playing peekaboo. "Did you see her face?" Jessie wheezed, wiping a tear. "Oh, Mama, it was just a joke. Trent came up with it, said it'd be hilarious as all get out." Trent snapped a photo on his phone. "Priceless, Ruth Ann. You look like you'd seen a ghost. Lighten up. It's Mother's Day fun, for crying out loud." Ruth Ann's cheeks burned hotter than a jalapeno in July. The card slipped from her hands, landing face up on the floor with a thud. Tears pricked her eyes, but she blinked them back, forcing a smile that felt like glass shards. "Well, ain't that something?" she murmured, her voice cracking just a bit, feeling lower than a snake's belly.
Jessie picked up the card, still smirking like the cat that got the cream. Come on, Mama. Don't be so dramatic. You know we love ya. But hey, maybe it's time to, step back a little. We've got our own rhythm now, running like a well-oiled machine. Trent nodded, his tone turning serious as a heart attack.
Yeah, Ruth, you're always telling those old stories about singing backup for has-beens. We appreciate it, but Jessie's got real shots coming up. Maybe look into one of those senior communities. Branson's got some with music themes. It'd be a hoop for folks your age. The words hit like a freight train barreling down the tracks. Senior community? Ruth Ann glanced at the grandkids, who looked confused but quiet as mice. Leela tugged at Jessie's sleeve. Mommy, why is Grandma sad? She's fine, honey, just sentimental as all get out. Jessie pulled her away. Ruth Ann stood slowly, her legs unsteady as a newborn colt. I think I'll head home. Happy Mother's Day, y'all. No one stopped her. As she drove her old pickup back to her modest bungalow in East Nashville, the tears finally came, flowing like a river after a storm. The humiliation burned deep, but as the miles blurred, something else stirred. A fire she hadn't felt since her performing days. They didn't know the half of it. Ruth Ann Harlan wasn't just some faded backup singer. She was a songbird with secrets, and it was time for her encore, come hell or high water. That night, alone in her cozy living room, lined with vinyl records and faded concert posters, Ruth Ann poured herself a glass of sweet tea and sat in her rocking chair. The card lay on the coffee table like a venomous snake coiled up. She picked it up, reading the words again. Mute yourself from the band. How dare they? She'd given everything to this family, and this was her thanks? Bless their hearts, they had no clue. Memories flooded back, unbidden but sharp as a tack. It started in 1972, when Ruth Ann was 22, fresh off the bus from rural Kentucky with a guitar and a dream bigger than Texas. Nashville was a whirlwind. Honky-tonks, smoky bars, auditions that went nowhere faster than a hot knife through butter. She landed backup gigs, harmonizing for up-and-coming acts, her voice a rich alto that blended like honey and whiskey. One night, at a dive called the Bluebird Cafe, she met Hank Harlan, a songwriter with kind eyes and a neck for melodies that could melt your heart. They married quick as a wink, had Jessie May a year later. Hank's big break never came, but Ruth Ann kept touring, leaving baby Jessie with her mama back home. Those road miles were brutal. Sleepless nights in motels, scraping by on tips thinner than a dime. But every dime went to Jessie's future. When Jessie showed vocal talent at age 10, Ruth Ann sold her prized Martin guitar to pay for lessons. You got the gift, darling. She'd hug her tight as a drum. Hank passed young, heart attack at 45, leaving Ruth Ann a widow with a teenager. She doubled down, taking session work, singing jingles for radio ads like there was no tomorrow, all for Jessie's dream. By 18, Jessie wanted demos, professional recordings to shop to labels. Ruth Ann cashed in her savings, $10,000 back then, a fortune that could buy a small farm. This is your ticket, baby girl. More followed. $20,000 for vocal coaches in LA, $15,000 for a wardrobe makeover when Jessie signed with the manager. Ruth Ann babysat when Jessie gigged, reading bedtime stories to Leela and Cody while Jessie chased spotlights brighter than a full moon. Trent entered the picture 12 years ago, a slick producer who promised to make Jessie a star. Ruth Ann fronted $35,000 for their home studio setup. Family invest in family, she'd said, reckoning it was the right thing. But the thanks faded quicker than a cheap dye job. Jessie's calls turned to requests. Mama, can you watch the kids? We've got a showcase that's gonna be killer. Or worse, Trent needs $5,000 for mixing gear. Temporary loan, swear on a stack of Bibles. Ruth Ann always said yes, dipping into her modest pension like it was bottomless. They didn't know her secret. In 1978, during a late-night session, Ruth Ann co-wrote a song with a drunk legend, anonymous, under a pseudonym to avoid contract issues. Whiskey Lullaby became a platinum hit, covered by everyone from Willie Nelson to modern stars.